A serial squatter who owes landlords tens of thousands of dollars thinks that he's the victim. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News.
Property manager Kat Theo says a judge signed an order to evict the Arcadews.
Hello? They're gone. They did not stick around, they didn't come to court, and they did not pay us a dime.
Kat says the Arcadews owe in the neighborhood of $18,000 for 15 weeks of living in the $1 million furnished home with a priceless view of the Omaha skyline.
They're bougie squatters. They like high-end properties, luxury homes.
But Roberto Arcadew tells me that's an unfair label.
I'm absolutely not a serial squatter. I mean, I'm cash-strapped. After the pandemic hit, it's been very rough on both sides of the ocean, so I cannot work here because I don't have the green card here as well yet.
All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's coming out of my hometown of Omaha, Nebraska, and it's about a serial squatter. Now, this squatter has literally screwed over landlords and short-term rental managers all over town, okay, owing them tens of thousands of dollars. And you know what? After he gets evicted, he just finds another victim. So this is the true definition of somebody who is a professional tenant, someone who knows the law, knows the rules, and knows the process that he has to go through before he can actually be evicted. Now, fortunately for the people in Omaha who are dealing with this guy, the eviction process is a lot faster than it is in places like New York or California, and tenants aren't afforded the same rights. So if a landlord or a property owner files eviction against this guy, he's got a very short period of time in order to stay there. But that doesn't mean that these landlords are, losing far less money. No, they are still losing tens of thousands of dollars, and in particular the short-term rental property owners, because they make so much money on a nightly basis in terms of how much they charge, and they could have other bookings that are affected that it could completely screw them over. So yeah, it's a good thing that, in this story they talk about a property owner who was able to get this guy out, but this guy, he moved right down the street and was able to get another short-term rental, property owner who unfortunately, I guess, hadn't read the news article about him and take advantage of that person as well. So, I wanted to cover something that kind of went into the mindset and the tactics that these people are using in order to screw over us property owners. And, I think it's an important thing to know that, hey, these issues, the issues of squatters, the issues of people who want to take advantage of the system, they don't just occur in the far left-leaning places. In my opinion, right, because we have seen a diminishing of property rights throughout the entire country, that is the reason why you're seeing these things happening all over. Okay, you're seeing them in places that are traditionally much more landlord friendly as well. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. So, I'm just curious where you live. If a person is up in the property, squatting and claims to have a lease or whatever, right? Is there any means of removing that person? Now, I already know the answer for this for the state of Florida, right? Florida recently passed a law that will enable the police to be able to charge and remove these people from the properties immediately and charge them criminally for the crimes they're committing, right? And I'm imagining that we're going to see more of that type of law passed throughout the entire country. But as far as I know, they're the outlier. They're the only place I know of that even has such a law. And I believe Georgia was actually working on passing something similar. But other than that, I haven't heard of many other states, even in landlord-friendly states, that have these sort of laws in place to make sure the squatters don't just completely trample all over property owners. So anyway, let's get into this article and see what it says. This article is coming from wowt.com. That's Channel 6 News Omaha. And it says, Omaha short-term rental owners accuse family of being bougie squatters. Several property owners in Omaha claim one man owes them each thousands of dollars, but he says he's good for it. Yeah, well, he's not good for it, or he would have paid them back already. So anyway, let's see what the article says. Several short-term rental owners in Omaha claim one man owes them each thousands of dollars, but he says he's good for it. Last fall, 6 News reported the eviction of a family who moved around Omaha from hotels to short-term rentals. Some landlords owed rent have gone to court alleging a scheme. A constable evicted Robert Arcadu and his family last November. The short-term rental owner said it's been no vacation trying to collect $7,500 Arcadu owes for 2 weeks' rent and a month of lost bookings. So yeah, short-term rental property owner rented the place to this guy for 2 weeks, or for I don't know how long, but he owes him for 2 weeks of staying plus a month of lost bookings, and had to go through the eviction process, got the guy up out of there. Guy still owes him money, hasn't been able to collect. Not surprising. Okay, it is almost impossible to collect from tenants, and it shouldn't surprise them one bit. The good news is that from the sound of it, he only had a month of lost bookings and then the 2 weeks the guy owed him. So it only took him 6 weeks to get this dude up out of there. So that's the benefit of the landlord-friendly state. The unfortunate thing is, though, that they weren't able to get him out of there immediately. And that's what I'm talking about. If a person is not paying you, a person is trespassing, then we need to kick them to the curb, okay? Because at this point, it is a theft of services in particular, okay? Or fraud, or breaking and enter. There's so many different laws that could be charged against people who do this sort of thing, and yet we never hear about criminal charges in these cases. So that's a very frustrating aspect of the whole squatter issue. They were staying and refused to leave, said Patty North, the property owner. I had to take them to court, and because I contacted 6 News, I was able to get them out. But they didn't go far, maybe 50 yards, convincing the unsuspecting manager of a nearby short-term rental to let them move in. And see, that is a huge problem right there, because you know what? I don't know how short-term rentals operate in comparison to long-term rentals, right? But like a long-term rental person would have run this person's background, hopefully a long-term rental property manager or landlord would have run this person's background and immediately seen the eviction that this guy had just gone through, okay? But a short-term rental manager, and see, this might be the loophole that he realizes, right? Short-term rental managers aren't doing checks of the guests to make sure that they actually have the capability of paying, okay, or that they haven't been evicted before. So, he's able to move on to his next victim relatively easily. But, he's only got a few weeks, maybe a month or two in the place in Omaha. It's kind of weird that he's doing this in Omaha when, you could play this same scheme in somewhere like New York and be able to stay for a couple of years. Property manager Kat Theo says a judge signed an order to evict Arcadis. They are gone, Theo said. They did not stick around. They did not come to court, and they did not pay us a dime. Kat says Arcadis owes in the neighborhood of $18,000 for 15 weeks living in the $1 million furnished home with a priceless view of the Omaha skyline. They are bougie squatters, Kat said. They like high-end properties and luxury homes. But Roberto Arcadu told 6 News that it's an unfair label. So this is the interesting part, right? This guy actually talked to the news, I guess he wanted to defend his argument, and defend himself and his reputation. His reputation as a scammer and a con artist. He doesn't like being called that. He doesn't like being called out in the news for what he is, a fraudster. And so he actually talked to them, right? And I guess he thinks that, he's been treated in the wrong. Okay, so let's hear what the news says. I am absolutely not a serial squatter, Arcadu said. I am cash-strapped after the pandemic hit. It's been very rough on both sides of the ocean, and I cannot work here because I don't have the green card yet. Arcadu is Italian, and he's been living in Omaha for 3 years. He says he's a consultant for a London-based company, and its owner is stopping in Nebraska next week to pay him the fees he's owed. So his excuse is he can't find any work in the U.S. because he doesn't have a green card. So what are you telling me? You're an illegal alien? Is that supposed to garner sympathy with me that we got some Italian illegal alien sitting over here, screwing over property owners in Omaha, Nebraska? Maybe we should deport you, send you back to Italy, wherever you're from, because you know what? Only thing you are is a fraudster. You're screwing over landlords, you're screwing over property owners, and you think it's they're mislabeling you. You know what? You're full of garbage. I just want you out, honestly, okay? You're just as bad as those people who are walking over the border and demanding benefits and such, or trying to take advantage of property owners. I was telling you about, I think it was a Venezuelan guy who was trying to tell people how to scam the system. Well, you're just as bad as them. If you came over here, you don't have a green card, and you are scamming property owners, you are just as bad as that Venezuelan guy who's making the TikTok videos. So anyway, this is an interesting story. I'll put a link to the article in the description down below, and let me know what you think. What do you think of this guy who, basically has figured out the system and is squatting all over the place in short-term rentals in Omaha, Nebraska?